So yeah, when I start out creating the template, my settings, I choose the bit depth, 24-bit. I leave it interleaved. I use 41.1 kilohertz sample rate. And then yeah, I just choose my interface. I'll go ahead and name this recording template. Bam. And let's see. All right, so I start out with an empty grid. Just so y'all know, I leave my expanded transport on, and then I usually choose all because it lets me adjust my tempo right here, change it to whatever I'd like to match the beat that I'm using in the session. And let's see, let's get into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start building my tracks. I'm gonna do 4 mono audio tracks. Go ahead and rename them. I'll name them hook, verse 1, verse 2, libs. Now, obviously you can have more, or you can get more detailed than that, but that's just the basic start for me. Yeah, these are where all the finished recordings are gonna sit. I don't record on these tracks. I usually make a dedicated tracking track. I know that sounds funny, so I'll go ahead and make that now. Rename tracking. Oh yeah, to make the new tracks, I did Shift Control N on Windows. I believe it's like Shift Command N on Apple or Mac. So let's see here. Move that up. Go ahead and change the color of it, so I know. Keep that input. I'm gonna change it to input 2 for right now because I'm using input 1 to record this. No input on these. Make my channel for the beat. Shift Control N. 1 stereo audio track. Rename that beat. I'm gonna give it a different color. I'll move that up. All right, Shift Command N. Now I'm gonna start creating my sends for my effects, such as like reverb and delay, also for my buses. So we'll do 4 stereo auxiliary inputs for right now. Move these down. Rename them. I'll do verb, delay, and then FX1, FX2 for whatever you want to put there. Now, obviously, you can have as many of these as you would like. And then I'm going to create my buses. Shift Control N. I'll do 4 buses. Hook, verses, libs, all. Yeah. Stereo auxiliary inputs. First thing I'm going to do is recolor these to let myself know that they're buses. Make them yellow. Rename. Do hook vox, verse vox, lib vox, all vox. And then I'll make my print bus. Two print buses. So stereo, aux input, create. I'll make these a lighter orange. Now I'm gonna have one for the music and then one for everything. So, and I'll explain all this in just a minute. Music, print. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw my master in there, my master fader. And I usually bring this to the top. All right, so now that I have all of the tracks made, I need to route them because right now they're all going to the same exact output. So I'm gonna start down here at the print. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a bus channel. I already have a print bus set up. If you need to know how to create a bus, what you would do is you would go to bus, find an empty bus like bus 19 through 20, select it, and then right click it to rename it. But in this case, I already have some set up that I commonly use, so I'm gonna go ahead and assign them. So print, bus, I have a music bus set up, all vox. I don't think I have a lib bus set up, so 19 through 20, rename lib vox, bus, verse vox, bus, hook vox, bus, FX2, FX1, delay, verb. So on all of these, when I create buses, this tells this track what input is going into this. So let's say for the verb, right? This is the verb track. I can load up a reverb on this if I wanted to. I don't really have a bunch of stuff imported in here right now, so I just have a deverb. So let's say like I loaded up a reverb, I liked how it sounded, blah, 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 and I wanted to add it to the hook, right? Then I would go to the sends, and I would go to verb. Now this puts the reverb on this, right? So any signal that's coming through here is going to be going into this verb send. And whatever data that I control with this, I can tell it how much of the signal to send to the reverb. It'll come through here, into this, and into the reverb plugin. And so I control how much of that reverb effect I want by turning this knob up or down, this fader up or down. So that gives you like more hands-on control of how much of that reverb signal that you want. So now I have the beat. I'm going to go ahead and lay these out. No input. I'm going to send the beat to music. Now, right now it doesn't really matter because I have this set up for a 2-track, so I could control the volume from the 2-track, or I could send it to the music, control the volume through the music right here. But where this music one comes into play is, let's say you're editing a session that has the tracked out instrumental. You're going to go and mix all the individual instrumentation, all the individual instruments, and then you're going to send every single instrument into the music send, and then you can control the overall level of the entire instrumental with that music fader versus having to go and tweak every single volume level on each instrument. Tracking, that's going to be whatever input you're using from your interface. I usually, when I'm just tracking, I just send it out through the print. And then, I'm going to drop them down where they need to correspond later on, whether it's the hook, the verses, etc. So the hook is going to go out to Hookvox. Verses, accordingly, VerseVox. 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 The verbs, all the effects I normally send out through the print. And then the Hookvox, obviously I'm going to send out as the final routing to all Vox. Same thing with the verses, all Vox. All Vox. And then the all Vox is going to go out through the print. Music is going to go out through the print. And so even though you have the master fader, I don't ever really add anything to the master fader. I do all of my mastering on the print. The print is the final destination for everything in your session before it gets sent out to the master fader. The master fader, I just look at to gauge my leveling, etc., etc. The last thing that you want to do for all of your buses, you want to solo safe them. So that way, if you solo the hook or if you solo the verse, you're not soloing out or you're not muting the effects that you have on them and listening to them dry. So you'll do Control or Command, I believe it is, on Mac, and you just want to hit the solo button. That's going to solo safe all of these. That way, if you solo any individual part in the song, you're not muting the effects and the routing, etc. And I believe that's it. Another thing, so I do all of my tracking on the tracking part. So for example, let's say I had the beat loaded up in here and the artist wants to go ahead and lay down the hook. I'm going to arm that track for recording, Shift R, and then I'm going to start recording, Control space, and let's say he's rapping blah 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 21 21 21, and then he's done with the hook, space to stop. Then I'm going to do Control 4 or Command 4 on Mac to change to the grabber tool. Go ahead and drop it on the hook, or you can drop it on the verse if he's recording the verse, and then enter to bring it back to the beginning. And then you could record the next part on the tracking. Another cool thing, if you're into like vocal comping, which is recording a whole bunch of different takes and then combining all of those takes into one perfect take, you can change this little wave, drop down to playlists, and it'll let you drop down on that track. Whatever is in here will not be audible while you're recording, and then you can go through and solo different parts listen to them all, and then build one perfect take that you can then drop down wherever it belongs. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it for how I set my sessions up in Pro Tools. I'll be coming back later to give you guys some tips on working with vocals, EQing, compression, various different creative things you can do with the vocals, how I master my tracks to make them all blend together. If you have any more questions for me, please let me know. And again, I'm going to make this template available for y'all to download. This is Ace Royal with Internet Money. I'm out. Peace.